Okay, so we'll try this again. We're doing takes now, take two. Um, so Lady Gaga's world tour was cut short. That's pretty humorous. And that she had a medical team last night. And it does bring to mind, it's an Us Weekly story, the idea for James and the writers regarding that, poor, sad, sick in the head Jen. And people can sort of like, I think, figure out what I'm talking about without saying it. Um, yeah, I mean, I did think that I did think that could have possibly been what happened, and how sort of like sad and pathetic that is for her, and sort of like dodging a bullet for me. You know what I'm saying? So there was a man at the hotel in Orlando that actually fell down because of sciatica, which is extremely painful. Um, I've had it. I had it for 8 weeks because for about 3 years, 3.5 years, I literally sat at a computer, hunched over like this for about 18 hours a day, just typing. Hello, this is anonymous. Yahweh took a rib from Atom, gave to it a partner comparable to it, dot, 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 dot. Like a message that was like a happy, everyone should have been like, oh my God, God's real, it means Jesus is, and it's just like pages and pages of it. How did we not see that? He has revealed it to us, freedom. Everyone happy, living in heaven. Do, do, do. No more worry, no more FICA scores, da, da, da. Okay, which that clearly didn't happen. We decided to redo like Nazi Germany, and for some people, Mao prison camps and Cambodia. So that's USA Today. All right. So I call it stuck in a previous, and clearly some sort of cognitive impairment, and just an extreme, like, will not come out of a delusion, like someone you can't wake up, like, hello, wake up, when they're in a nightmare. They don't even want to come out of a nightmare because they're afraid of reality. But they're afraid of love, or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, in terms of sciatica, for about 3.5 years, that's all I did. I was doing this, and I was smoking pots. Like, I didn't even have any swelling. So the cysts and stuff with my liver getting worse is a recent thing that started in about 2013. I didn't have that back in 2009. Some women who have polycystic kidney disease get it. So it's just, a thing. And it's almost to me a saving grace, because it makes a decision for me about something that I knew in my belief system what I wanted to do, but only fear would actually prevent me from doing it. And I've witnessed someone who had dialysis and got a transplant, and it's not pleasant. It's just, if you know that you're just going to be reborn, you're going to have a brand new body, and you're going to be healthy, I mean, only fear of the dying process is going to cause you to do all these medical things. Just trust me. If you don't know anyone who's had a kidney transplant, get to know them. Okay. Anyways, so that's like literally all I did. I would eat like one meal a day, and it was usually not the greatest food. It was like, carbohydrates and da 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 da. And your body degrades. If you have a very fast metabolism, you don't get fat, you don't put on weight. What happens is your muscle mass starts to go away, and you look thin. Like, even your weight wouldn't even really change that much, but you look thin. And that's what happened with me. I didn't actually get like skinnier than I had been. I definitely wasn't anorexic. I still weighed like 120 something pounds. And so, anyways, my butt was completely gone. Like, I had a circle where my tailbone is. It was like completely degraded. So I know for a fact that you can rebuild from that if you have that. But anyways, so what sciatica is, it's came about after people became industrialized, and they could just lay in beds all the time and not have to do anything, and that's what causes it. Um, I believe that if you're sitting on a bed or a couch, like something soft with your legs like this, and you're sitting like this, that's the worst. I believe that's what causes it, is sitting on a soft surface, legs out. It's just something to do with how your butt and your nerves and everything go like this. That's what causes it. It's almost like a pinched nerve because there's no muscle surrounding that area and keeping that nerve protected. So, anyways, I I it's usually starts off with a sudden just like, oh, and the pain is just like you can't even move. It's hard to describe it. I birthed vaginally with no drugs for children. It's worse than that. It's really really painful, and it's a nerve pain, so it's different kind of from giving birth pain. And so and when I tried to walk, my foot was doing this, like it was really severe sciatica. So it took me about 8 weeks to get rid of that. And like I couldn't even put pants on. It was like I could put them on. When I say I couldn't do it, I could do it, but it was agony to do it. So you kind of have to mix up just laying flat. You have to kind of find a way, a comfortable thing, and just rest it and rest it. But then after a certain amount of time doing that, I don't know, I can't remember, maybe like a couple of days or a week, you have to try to get up and move because you have to rebuild that muscle. This is how you get rid of it. Um, and never ever bend like this. Never ever do that. Like it doesn't even matter like how little it is. Always bend your knees a little bit when you bend over. Never ever just go boop, because you can get it from that. Just even it that kind of causes it. That's how I got it the first time. Now the yeah, so you have to kind of like mix it up with walking and everything. And then I started doing, when I first started walking at that point, it was like I had such bad PTSD. I was like, it feels almost like you would think a diabetic does, but it's not. It's PTSD, where you can get like dizzy and you're weak and you're sweaty and you're kind of like, you can feel it building in here in your belly because you have like your adrenal glands there and stuff. And you got to just kind of walk off that adrenaline so it's not just flowing around your body. And so I started off doing that. I think I explained this, like setting some kind of a goal where you're just like going to get your two sodas, and you're taking that short walk to the store for that, and then you're expanding upon that. And that's how you stop using too, by the way. It's also, you can cure sciatica, but you also cure your using. Now, I've stressed before, getting people out of these environments that are extremely unhealthy for them. Okay, so we're still working on that. We sure as heck don't want to be turning people away from homeless shelters, because if people don't even have that to turn to, we're in deep, deep, deep trouble. Okay, it's not our job to try to rebuild families. We have to remember that. We can strongly suggest, okay, everyone's got a mother and a father, so those people need to be taken care of because we're not going to have slaves doing that anymore. But you cannot force people back into situations that are keeping them ill, because they're not going to be able to properly care for these people anyway, and it becomes doubly abusive where you're abusing the caregiver, and the person who needs the care is being neglected and not getting the proper care they need, because it's just not a good setup. So anyway, we can encourage people to say you have a mother and a father and you care for them, and then you're not responsible to care for anyone else. And there's always going to be people that are willing to do that, to care for other people, because it's just something that they do. A lot of people, that was their work they were doing. And sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it, because it's a need exists. And as compassionate people, you can't just let people just rot in beds and get sciatica and stuff like that. It's not right. And get bed sores and not be fed, and it's not good. It's not right. So even the most, meanest, cruelest people, the compassionate people, will not let these people just lie in beds and starve. Okay, they're not always going to be super loving, back to these people. It's not like you have to be like that. It's just you got to make sure that they're getting cared for until they pass on. Um, when people want that type of attention and stuff, they need to give it forth in their lives. They need to say that you're expecting your children to do it, and you are a horrific, horrific abusive parent. You're not going to get all that stuff that other elderly people get from their children, because that's not how life works. You're going to get basic care. Okay, you're not going to get a companion. You're not going to get people, you know, listening to your stories all day long and all that. You're just not. That's called you reap what you sow. And it's not a punishment that people are doing purposely. It's just that they don't feel like that about you. It's not like all of a sudden you get old and these people that you abused love you now and they want to take care of you. That's not rational of mind. Okay. Um, so anyway, it's not our job to rebuild families. So this crap we're turning people away from shelter and doing it to people who don't even have parents like that they need to care for. Okay, first of all, you'd have no way of knowing that when you don't even talk to the people coming in there. And I don't care if they're snowbirds or not. You don't own the state of Florida. You don't own that land. Only Almighty God owns that land. And from what I could see, you didn't have people standing on each other's shoulders because there was too many people. You didn't have a lack of food and water. Okay, so there's not a problem. And if you got rid of all of those buses and things and cars, you'd have even more land. And this bit with the private property, and you can't sit there in a lighted area that's safe. Pretty much like I told the guy, then you're either going to call the cops, have me arrested so I could sleep in a jail for the night, or you're going to call an ambulance and I sleep at the hospital for the night. Um, I'm not made for Lake Eola by myself. I mean, if you have a group of people that know each other and they're prepared for that type of camping, okay. But not when someone's not prepared. If you wanted me to do that, then you should have provided me at least with the blanket. You didn't even offer me a friggin' blanket. So, some of these things, I'm not a perfect person either. And it's like we can all go, well, what are you doing? It's like, this is what I do. I observe and I report. That's what I do. And I'm not being paid to do other work and then not doing it adequately. So that would be my answer to that. If it was my work to be doing that, I'd be paid to do it and I'd be given the means to do it. Like, if you don't want to do it, then you stop doing it and you give me the blankets and I'll give them out. That type of thing. Not, why am I not doing something? How would I get blankets? You know what I mean? I mean, you could have had that. All you had to do was set me up even in a shelter with a bed, and that could have happened. I'm supposed to be having this SSDI hearing next month. I could have been doing that. So you're not really wise in what you're doing. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with that, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Because, yeah, I still have children, even though I don't see them. And I wouldn't mind either buying a property or something, or buying a property that has a little bit of land and trying to do something like that my own myself. Because clearly I think that I can operate a program that some people can't do, because I don't have a motivation to make people work. So it wouldn't be anything like that. It would be something where it was probably going to be men. And this might be why there's more shelters for men. I don't know. Um, where it's a piece of land and they're in some kind of a recovery program and they're working the land and they're self sufficient. That's the type of program that I do. It's not, okay, now you're going to work for me. Because, first of all, that's not work when you're providing yourself with food and water. That's not work. Okay? And physical activity does actually help people get well. And it's not like a labor camp. It's not anything like that. I would think that anybody entering a program like that, they're either gonna get frustrated and leave because they want to use, because they don't want to do the physical activity, or they're gonna do the physical activity and get well. I wouldn't keep it like a prison, like you've got to be here so many days. I don't know. Some of these things, it is kind of difficult because I understand that certain rules and stuff exist because of experience and things that have happened. But I know at Father Bill's that they're not nuns and priests, and they're not talking about the Bible. They have AA come in, but they're not talking about the Bible, and they're not doing standing poses in the dining room and stuff like that, and they're not doing group walks. That back of my feet stuff is not going to cut it. First of all, it's way too early in the morning, and it's like a 30-minute walk, and it's run by, little cute people that have to wear the bum pants and stuff, and it's too perky. That's not going to work on people that need to get off drugs and alcohol and people that are not 22. It's just not going to work. The only people that are going to end up doing that is people like Jen. That's probably why Jen did it, because she's a sexual offender. And she probably went, ooh, a chick, and a chick with the tight pants, so that means she's a whore, so I'll do this. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason Jen did it. And that's why Jen talks to that chick in the kitchen, too. It's the same thing. It's because she's a sexual offender. So that's why you're not getting a lot of people doing that, and you lie, as pointed out many times. You never gave me the sneakers. Okay? So, and that is why people are going to do it, and it doesn't make them bad people when you don't have an income and you have no way to buy sneakers. And my walks are about 2 hours long, to 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on the mood I'm in and how much walking I'm doing at a point in time. So your 30-minute walks aren't gonna do it. And some of that is set up so that those people can sort of get counsel, because I could tell that on the times that I went, that it's really sad, some of these like college age kids, how brainwashed they are into the system. It's very, very sad. So if their parents aren't brainwashed, they need to start trying to deprogram their children. That was like when I was in Bournewood, and the young woman was telling me how she's getting married and she has a prenup and all of this stuff, and it's like, whoa. Prenups are for celebrities like Johnny Carson, whatever prenup, not a medical student in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, doesn't have a prenup. Okay, so some of that's like really kind of grandiose, and it's like a Hollywood mentality infiltrating regular people. You're not the sultan of, of anything that you need a prenuptial agreement. Like you're gonna lose half your billions of wealth. Um, so that's my thing on that. So that was like the Lady Gaga thing. I remember with the Lady Gaga thing before, I was like all like enraged. Like I thought it was like Andrew had a fiance or something, and it's like it's not his fiance, it's his sister. But anyways, it was like you can because that's how people can get when they have like a very strong sexual attraction to someone. They can become sort of like, who is this or whatever. But it's like, hopefully people sort of work through that process of, you're not going to be like a cha, as they're called in Native American tongue. You're not going to be like a cha going around like, attacking other women. You're not going to be doing that. Those are the people that did all the warring, by the way. It wasn't men, it was women. Um, because women are very territorial. We went over this. Men are kind of just sit there like, sometimes, I mean, it's not good, but sometimes, yeah, men think it's funny and they laugh. Like when Jen and her wife, whose name I don't use, um, came out of the library with that ridiculous, it was so embarrassing. It was like, oh my God, thank God I've never done this in my life. Where they would just, her wife was just screaming at her. It was like a Jerry Springer show, trailer trash, embarrassing thing. And so, like, Jerry and I just sitting there, and yeah, we did chuckle because to me it was humorous because Jen is so abusive, and I just remember how she was with me and how she screamed at me on the library lawn in front of the woman who doesn't like me to use her name, and she just came up to me and she's like, "Go F yourself," like she said the word. I mean, she was just like beyond cruel. So when you see someone sort of like getting that back at them, yeah, and when you see two women that are just like they're both what most people would call mentally ill, sort of like having a fight like that, you're just like, oh my God, it's like bad. It's really, really bad. But anyways, In terms of a response to not wanting to be anything like me when you're 46, because we don't know what I'm going to be like at 47. I'm only 46, not 47. I would never want to be you, Jennifer, and I'd never want to be your wife, just for extra clarity, um, because I just find your lives pretty pathetic and sad. And that I think that to me should have been a rock bottom for the two of you. And the fact that you would even still communicate with each other after that sort of speaks volumes to why your life difficulties keep cycling over and over and over again, because you're not learning to that is not good. It's actually not funny. It shouldn't be funny from your point of views. It was funny for me and Jerry, but I don't think it should be funny from your point of views. And Jennifer was quite mad that I laughed at that, and she came over and told me to go F myself again, when I haven't even said anything to her. And then, but not Jerry. Jerry, who she hates, but she specifically said, not you to Jerry, but I should go F myself. It's like, why? Because your wife just screamed at you that you're mentally sick and you need medication and da 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 da. And it was like, Blanche Dubois and Streetcar Named Desire, like that level of histrionic and manic. It was like, how is that a reflection on me? I didn't do that. I didn't cause that. I mean, you chose to marry that. And when I say it like that, I'm sure when her wife finally gets her shit together, that she is gonna go, yeah, that was a really bad time. That was a really bad time for me, and how embarrassing or whatever. So it's like I don't even mean it that personally to her. I understand some of her history she told me, but she's also got to remember that I have kind of a negative thing towards her because she was being purposely country to me. So it's like sometimes when you're like, oh, Mary running her mouth and now she's posting this shit to YouTube, and if she ever shows her face here again, it's like, if she ever shows her face here again, you're just gonna turn away and not say anything to me, because you can't keep assaulting me, and you can't make threats towards me because I'm speaking my mind. And I'm not doing it up in your face, and I'm not telling you gross, disgusting sexual things that I've done with other people right in your face. So sort of try to remember like how you've treated me when you go someone's running their mouth. It's like, yeah, I do that. That's what I do, and everybody knows that. I mean, you knew that when I came back in 2017, that that's all I do is run my mouth, because that's what I do. So, I mean, you would think that you would just avoid me and not speak to me. So sometimes people do things too because they're crying out for help or they want attention. So I think cutting the bull crap with Mary running her mouth really after 7 years. If you even talk to Mary, then you want her to talk about you online. Okay, that's like you call up the Howard Stern show because you ran into him at Dunkin' Donuts, and now he's telling everybody about it, and you're calling him up and you're like, how dare you run in your mouth? I mean, that's not rational. You know he's Howard Stern. That's what he does. So that's pretty much that. Yeah, I think it's good too if people have a complaint and they you know, say something to me, because I always try to. I may not actually say your name, but trust me, when I'm talking, I have you in my mind. And that fuels a lot of my anger about things. I've seen a lot of things in 7 years. And I actually do care about people. And I actually do care about people that have wronged me too. And I would not want anyone to be sort of just rotting on the streets in Quincy, or forced to be sleeping with these different men to have a place to sleep, or forced to go back to a shelter to be molested by her abusive wife, or any of those things. Someone like that needs to be housed, and that's what this Father Bill's housing is made for, is specifically designed for. And hopefully she'll get to a point where she realizes that she doesn't need overnight guests. She needs a school book. Okay? So that's about it for that Us Weekly article.